In this episode of Soaring Eagle, the engine on our sawmill breaks. Try to use this temporary replacement. Unfortunately, it doesn't work and we're forced to order a brand new engine.
A lot better job than I did. We can say that at least.
But we eventually are able to get everything to work out after a couple of other mishaps. Hey guys, the engine on my sawmill ended up breaking. There was an insane amount of white smoke that came out of this sawmill as I was operating the mill. When it happened, my wife was up on the hill with the horses and she ended up looking down into the valley to see the whole valley covered in white smoke. As you can hear, something's not quite right. The sawmill won't turn over. Unfortunately, I checked and there is gasoline in the oil.
Can smell gas.
Considering that there's gasoline in the oil, I think we're in bad shape, so it's time to replace this engine. In order to remove the engine, you have to take a couple things off. You have to take this guard off, and then there's a little bracket that you can see to the left. Yep, that's the bracket right there. All of this needs to be removed in order to remove the drive belt. After that, you have to go underneath the motor and loosen up these bolts. Now, to do that, you have to secure the top. So see right here, secure the bolt on the top, and then loosen up the nut on the bottom. There's 4 bolts that hold the motor to the base. You can't get to the 2 on the right without taking the muffler off, at least I couldn't. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm taking the muffler off on the right hand side. There it goes, there goes the exhaust. And now I can get to the bolts. Loosening up the bolts. Okay, for the next step, you need to remove the throttle and blade drive lever. This lever engages the throttle and the blade at the same time. This mechanism was the main reason I bought a genuine Wood-Mizer engine. This is the throttle cable, and if you push the lever down, you can see that it engages the drive belt. You can see it right here. Okay, now we can remove the engine. All right, I thought it was all set, but whoops, I have to take the gas lines off. As it turns out, all I really needed to do was just remove the gas lines from what's connected to the engine instead of actually removing it from the other side over at the gas tank. I chose to remove it from the gas tank because at the time it was faster to remove the whole engine if I did it this way. Okay, and now that the gas lines are off, now it's time to remove the engine. Except I forgot something. Except that I forgot that I have to detach the positive and negative lines from the battery to the starter. Now this bolt was extremely long. I was very surprised by how long this was. It took me a while, but I finally got it back in and connected back to the engine. Now I'm disconnecting the positive lead from the starter solenoid. Okay, and now I'm putting it back together. Now we should be all set. We should be able to remove the engine off from the sawmill. Does it work? Yes, it finally works. Pretty heavy. Had some extra sawdust built up, so I'm cleaning that off. And you can see it's going from the battery to the starter. And here's the old engine. I'm going to need to get this guy rebuilt. Now one of my friends let me borrow his Honda, 18 horsepower Honda. That's what's right here. So we're going to hook this up in the meantime until we get a new engine. At least that was the plan. Problem is it doesn't fit. The engine doesn't fit. And if you can see, the exhaust actually hits up onto one of the supports, the sawmill supports up on that left side. If the engine was built the other way around, that's just a 1-cylinder engine, but if the cylinder was on the right side instead of the left side, then it would have fit. The other thing is I would have had to have replaced the pulleys, but I could have probably gotten it to work. Well, this didn't work, so it was time to contact Wood-Mizer to buy a new engine. For me, it made sense to make the trip to the closest shop possible. That way I could pick up my blades, pick up the engine, and save a little bit on shipping. Got it all covered up with a tarp and ready to work on tomorrow. Hey guys, it's Christmas Eve 2020. Nasty day outside here. It's raining, as you can see, or hear. We got the engine from Wood-Mizer yesterday, crate engine. Now it's a Kohler engine, but Wood-Mizer modifies it so that it can bolt directly onto the sawmill. So this should be pretty easy. I was super happy with the local shop, Wood-Mizer shop. They were really nice, really encouraging. They took a forklift, dropped it right onto my truck. Couldn't have been any easier. As you can see, this is me getting it off from the truck this morning.
It didn't work out so well for me. They did a lot better job than I did. We can say that at least. Curious to see what's inside, to see how it's set up, how they packaged it, and so let's go take a look. It's got a little wet, but I put the tarp on because I didn't want it to get any worse than it already was. I actually don't drink wine, but I have this. Nothing against wine, just not my thing, but I know a lot of people like it. Well, already it looks like they did a pretty good job protecting it from me when I dropped it and rolled it. I don't think anything happened to the motor. Oh, look at that. You can see the exhaust system. This is was Wood-Mizer setup, I believe. And then you can see the gas intake. I'll take this with me and read this. Okay, I'm not known to be a very good maintenance man. Obviously, I'm going to do everything by the book this time around. Considering how much I did use the machine, it's amazing that it made it as long as it did. We're going to get this one to last at least twice as long by taking better care of it. Okay, so one difference is the color, okay? This still looks like it's some kind of coated metal. It just doesn't have that gold tint to it anymore. I'm not sure if the technology's changed, if they're cheapening out, not quite sure. Other thing is both of the parts to lift the engine, 1, 2, are right here on the one side for some reason. And then here they're spaced out 1, 2. So let's see, one here. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get this on without taking the exhaust off. We couldn't last time. 2. Ooh, tight. Maybe it's got some Loctite on it. Gotta find where that bolt dropped down to. That's gonna be fun. You pretty much have to take the exhaust off. Okay, all 4 bolts are in. Oh. Oh, that was exciting. Okay, 2 bolts are in. 1, 2. This one's almost in. And then the 4th one. So I'm gonna get these to fit right now. Hey, it's on. All 4 bolts are in. These are lock nuts. All right, here she is. Made in the USA, global parts. I don't think there's much as far as prosumer or consumer grade machinery that's not at least global parts. And then you can see the bolts. Now, I'm not tightening them yet because I need to get this right here so that the belt fits in. There it is. Okay, the belt's on, but I want to get it aligned a little bit better. You have to hook the gas and the electric up to it. Okay, I unplugged this from before. One goes here, one goes here. To hook the muffler back up, I dropped one of these down into the sawdust. We might find it, we might not, but I still have the ones from the old sawmill. Just gonna test it out real quick. It's not hooked up to gas, so it's not gonna fire. We're gonna do that tomorrow. Okay, cool. Check the oil. Wouldn't have done that without oils in it. Might take me a couple times to learn what I learned. You gotta get this gas line off. We'll worry about that tomorrow. Oh, you can't really see I'm wearing mittens, but we need to fully secure the engine. We need to hook up the exhaust. We need to hook the gas line back up, remove the gas tank and empty the old gas out, and then put the non-ethanol in. So we're pretty close to being back in business. we go. And if it's a problem, we'll move this back around. It just didn't look right when it was sticking out before. Yeah, that was easy. Okay, we're getting there. It appears to be working. This mechanism here attaches to the throttle, and I pull this lever, it engages the throttle of the motor or the engine, and then also engages the drive pump, which will cause the blade to spin, so it happens both at once. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to, like, you know, a lot of people recommended that I go and get a Harbor Freight engine to replace this. On a piece of equipment like this, it's better to probably have everything original and sell and upgrade this, and they had a Harbor Freight engine on it. I mean, it's gonna, the difference in the price that I'm gonna pay is gonna probably decrease the value of what I can resell it for, especially when you have to consider that I'd have to fabricate something to be able to get this to engage. Like if I were to just buy even the Kohler engine from Kohler and not from Wood-Mizer, I found I'd have to engage the motor and then engage the blade. Okay, I'm gonna kind of shift it around and get everything aligned. Okay, it actually looks like from before it was positioned just all the way in the back. So if I'm looking here at these nuts and the washers, nothing fancy, just pushed all the way forward. Thinking about it, thinking about it. Okay, I'm gonna tighten it in a cross hatch like you would tighten a tire on a car. And we'll go here. And we're gonna go here. And then down here.
Okay guys, I suited up and now I went into the store to get a 5-gallon gas can so that I can get non-ethanol gas for my new Sawmill engine. This is the one that I chose. Good deal.
On the Sawmill, so we're gonna replace the gas, and the only way that I know to get it out is to remove these 4 bolts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I was kind of hoping that because this wasn't the easy pour, like you got a million buttons kind, that it would pour a little bit faster. It's still probably better than my old can, but it's still not great. It's not really what I was hoping for as far as ease of pour. Not great, but better. I imagine it's going to take a while to prime. I'm seeing the gas come in. There's no muffler. Fresh paint's not going to be fresh long. Yeah, let's get this muffler on. I got a little excited and yeah, it's loud. And possibly not good for it. Okay, I loosened this so it was a little too tight before. Now it has some play in it. Ah, there we go. See the difference from before? Before it was locked on so it couldn't totally fold over. Now it doesn't want to pop out. That was the problem. Okay, I'm going to try to put the hour meter right here. Okay, here it is. So we got to insert the pickup wire into the rear of the meter, and then you wrap it around the spark plug wire. Okay, so yeah, that should be about all there is to it. Let's try it.
Two.
Okay guys, it looks like everything's secure. Now let's turn this engine on and see if it works. If you take a look at the instructions, it says to make sure that the meter is actually picking up the ignition signal. If it is, it will activate the timer on the meter and the icon on the left will flash.
Alright, you can see I wrapped it here to start with and it wasn't counting. And then I had to pull back this heat protector. I don't see anything over here on this side of the motor that's hot. The muffler's on the other side. So then I wrapped it 5 times here and it started counting it.